But I just wanted to say, how do you handle, what if you're wrong, knowing how the Christians believe what the consequences really are? Like, it's mind-blowing to me only because I've had my own personal experiences, so God is, you know, definitely real, and it's just amazing. The more I believe, the more he shows me. But then I say, wow, you know, the consequences are real for me. How do you handle that? Or what do you say about that? What if you're wrong?
If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. The big thing is, there's, you know, obviously you have a belief, and so there's a presumption that there's some risk on my part.
Right.
From where I sit, I'm risking being wrong about every religion, and you're risking being wrong about every religion except yours. And
Right.
I don't know how much time you've spent worrying about other religions' heavens or hells, but I don't think it's probably very high. And I don't spend any time worrying about anybody's heavens or hells. I live my life. I have sincerely and honestly pursued these things. I used to be a believer. I've looked around, and if it turns out that I die
Right.
and I'm still alive in some sense, and there was a God, I'd have to know. I can't really answer it because I'd have to know a lot more about that. So the first thing is there'd be a lot of questions. Any God that wants to condemn me to eternal torment and suffering, well, I can't do anything to stop them. But if they're willing to do that, knowing who I am and what kind of life I've led and how I honestly followed the evidence,
Right.
as far as I can tell, it's their fault that I don't know they exist. And if they want to punish me for that, then they're a moral thug, and I'll be happy to live, you know, in eternal anguish knowing that I'm morally superior to them.
Okay, no, I accept that. I wouldn't even know what to say to that, and I wouldn't want to argue with you, but okay, I'm praying for you guys. I just hope that, you know, you see the light, at least just reconsider maybe at some point. But thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Sure, I reconsider all the time, and I'll tell you this, because this is kind of what I told my parents, and that's, you may be in a similar position, and that's, they believe that there's a God. They believe
Right.
that God is real. They believe that God answers prayer. They believe that God wants me to know that he exists. And so what I told them was, okay, pray that God reveals himself to me, because if that happens, I'm not going to deny it. But until it does, I'm not going to be, you know, persuaded by emotional appeals and other people's claims about their experiences, because I have no way of verifying them. And,
Right.
you know, to me, it's a big question as to why, you know, why is Saul deserving of a Damascus Road experience, but the rest of us are just kind of, you know, take it on faith. I can't do that. And what I can say is, well, I don't know what would convince me. If there is a God, that God absolutely knows what would convince me and should be capable of doing it, and yet for some reason hasn't done it. Now, that reason could be that he doesn't exist, or it could be that there's some other plan that I'm not privy to. But until such time as it happens, I'm not going to change my mind just because maybe there could. I don't even know how people determined it was possible that there could be a God.
Well, you know, for me, I was a non-believer for so many years, and then fell into some, you know, sickness and not feeling good and anxious, and I finally gave up and said, I can't take it anymore, so let me start praying. And I asked other people to pray, and I will tell you, not instantaneously, but after 5 years, I not only began to see miracles, I was healed. He started to reveal himself more and more, to the point where I know him like I know my name is Lisa. So I know people aren't with me in that because everybody's experience is different, but I just now know that the more you believe or the more you ask him to reveal himself, he definitely will.
So then you should probably ask God why he hasn't revealed himself. I mean, if you know him like you know your own name, then why don't you ask him why he hasn't done anything to convince me?
Because I think free will then goes out the window if he does.
Why would? Why? No. Do you believe that there's a? Do you believe there's a Satan?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Okay. Doesn't Satan have free will, and doesn't he absolutely know better than anybody in history exactly that there is a God and what God's power is?
Absolutely, yes.
So,
yes,
so the absolute knowledge that a God exists doesn't in any way infringe on free will. And I find it curious that you went immediately to, I think that would violate free will, instead of, okay, I'll actually ask God and see what he says.
Well, no, and you're right. I didn't think of that, but I definitely will do that. I will ask him and say, why do I know and why can't they know? Why does somebody leave the church or leave, having a foundation in Christianity? How come he can't be where I am? Yeah, I will definitely do that. I think that's a good point.
If he answers you, call back and let me know what he says.
I will, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
All right. Bye-bye.